What did you feel?
I have part of Inspiration House from your website. I printed it off.
Okay.
Then I've got the points that you brought in, but I just like us to talk and just weave it into this conversation. And I'm so happy you're going to read.
Yeah, I'll
So
figure out
happy
what to read when we start.
And that's how I would do the music. I'm doing the music. It's like I hear something that sparks. And so I got some go. I got everything you asked. Go, Marvin, you Masakela.
Whatever you say.
I got it.
It's your
so,
show.
you know.
I'm your guest.
Now it's your show. Oh, I gotta do the 6 o'clock one.
Will you use this at all?
No.
You can maneuver it if you want to.
No, I'm gonna leave it there because the next DJ.
You can do your thing.
Oh yeah. So you're on him, yeah?
Right now, yeah.
Just so I know where I can zoom. Like, just so I know where I can be.
Say that again.
Like I know where I can like run around with
Oh, yeah,
my phone and stuff.
Yeah.
Are
You want to stay? Yeah, you want
No,
to
that's
stay?
cool. That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I got you.
Okay.
Okay, we got about 40 seconds as we go in. Hey. We're both from DC, and this is a music from where a region that we're from. It's called Go-Go.
Where's that?
It's called Go-Go. We're from DC.
Oh, DC. Okay.
And Go-Go kind of goes from like New York down to Carolina.
Yeah, yeah.
Different type of music. Okay, we're going hot soon. Looks like they got booty shake in Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the trademark.
So about 20 seconds. And 7, 6, 5. We'll go right on 0. .1 KBC and Monarch Radio, the voice of Valley College, and that was homegrown DC folk right there. That was a song called "Doing the Butt" by a band called EU Experience Unlimited, and my late great cousin Kent Wood, keyboardist for that. And we're doing DC homeschool because my present guest in here, Mr. Peter J. Harris, is my DC homeboy. Hello, sir. Hello. This man is a poet extraordinaire, writer, author. He's everything. Let me read a little bit about Peter. I don't even know where to start. He is writer and cultural worker. Peter J. Harris, 2018 Los Angeles Cola Fellow in Literary Arts, Fellow of the Los Angeles Institute for the Humanities at USC, is the author of Bless the Ashes, Poetry, Tia Chucha Press, winner of the 2015 Penn Oakland Josephine Miles Award, and The Black Man of Happiness, In Pursuit of My Unalienable Right, Personal Essays, winner of the 2015 American Book Award. His 2018 TEDx Pasadena talk with Adenike Harris, Healing versus Retaliation, Surviving Trauma and Sexual Abuse, described and celebrated 15 years of working with his daughter after convicting and jailing her predator ex-stepfather. Harris has published his work in a wide variety of publications, including most recently fiction, Flint Hills Review 2017, featuring a novel excerpt of Magnificence about R&B consultant and vampires. I could go on and on and on and on. I got one more. I got one more. Look, this DC in the house. We gotta get some props. Okay, I gotta go back to professional now. I have to go back to just to read this. Then we gonna go DC.
Oh my God.
Harris has also worked as a publisher, journalist, editor, and broadcaster, and been an educator and workshop leader for adults and adolescents. He is founding director of the Black Man of Happiness Project, a creative, intellectual, and artistic exploration of black men and joy. Peter, my brother, welcome to the show.
This gray hair came from all
Okay,
that
at
work.
least you got some hair to be great.
Well, thank you for reading all that. I appreciate it.
Of course.
I have put in the work.
Yes, you have. So what started the work? Take me back.
Well, I've been writing and publishing since I've been writing what I call good poetry since the 80s. My first few poems in late 70s were real derivative knockoffs of all my teachers, Hakeem Madabuli and Sonia Sanchez and all those folks. But you know, when you start finding your own voice, it's when you really think you're a poet, or when you really think you're a musician and you're into music. So somewhere in the 80s, I began to really feel that pop.
Okay.
That I knew that I had found how I wanted to speak, how I wanted to be a creative person, a person who found what I call ecstatic insights into the things that writers write about: life, love, loss, pain, joy, what I call whole living. I'm really interested in making sure that the work reflects my biggest desire for life, as opposed to only writing when I'm happy, only writing when I'm sad or heartbroken. I want to be able to find the language for everything I feel.
Okay.
As I've gotten older, wiser, hopefully, what that means practically is I don't write as much as I would try to write in my youth. But now one line kind of carries more weight than probably 10 poems in the old days. I'll tell a story. Once I went to see Herbie Hancock and Wayne Shorter. They were at a gig and everybody was waiting for them, and they sat down, Hancock sat down at his piano. Everybody kind of settled down, breathed deeply. He hit one note, changed the whole room. And that's that mastery that we're hustling for, that mastery that if we tap it, then we know that we don't need to say everything in order to say what we need to say.
You think the other stuff is just noise?
No. I mean, it's all development. It's all developmental. You know, when you're young, you feel like you gotta say stuff fast, hard, strong. I mean, maybe hip hop is probably the kind of pinnacle of that need, that hunger. But I think that as you get wiser, and that can happen in your youth as well, but as you get wiser, you realize what you're looking for is the word or the turn of phrase that's so right. When you hit it, it just reverberates.
Is it something to do maybe also, in your opinion, as a poet, as a man, as a grown man, we both are men of a certain age now, is it something like when you're young, you got so much going on sometimes that you don't have the patience to think before it just comes out?
I suppose there's some of that. I tend not to say it's one thing or another. I mean, we all grow. I tell when I've taught at high school, I've been on college campuses like here, and I tell the young colleagues, I said, look, when I was your age, I was this bold, I was this strong. But I think I benefited from growing up in a city like DC in the 70s. Well, coming of age in the 70s, growing up as a kid from the 50s into the 60s. But we were surrounded, and I'm sure you can tell your audience, we were surrounded by, at that time, everything from the crack dealer, the drug dealer, almost up to the White House. In those days, there was no White House that you could, there was nobody black in the White House. But now you can go, of course, the city like LA and like many other metropolises are suffering from transitions that aren't always equitable, gentrification, etc. So, but I don't know. Honestly, I was an energized young person, definitely imprinted by the powerful political movements and discussions and debates, disagreements of those times. I still consider myself very much a poet of witness, of testimony, of politics, but also understand when you have children and when you've raised children, when you've educated folks, when you've collaborated with your mentors, watched people die, held their hands, had your last conversations with your mother or your father before they passed. Well, you learn that politics is infused in everything that we live. So it's a fullness. Again, all about reverberations.
Because I'm thinking, my growing up in DC, we both grew up in Southeast DC, just separate portions of it. But I just remember not hearing a lot of political talk in the house. I grew up in that kind of house. But now as I've gotten older, I realize a lot of the political things were going on around me, even where I live. Like I live on Eli Place, Fort DuPont Park.
Okay, sure.
So the park separated the black folks with a little bit of money
Oh, I see.
and
Right.
black folks didn't have a little bit of money.
Right. Yeah.
But I
was
didn't
definitely
really-
on the side where we didn't have them.
Because you on Stanton Road, right?
I was down from
You was Stanton Road,
Park.
yeah. That's where my cousin,
What?
Parklands,
I
yeah.
wonder if anybody knows what we're talking about.
My father's listening. He
Oh,
usually
hey.
listens. He
How you
usually
doing,
listens.
sir?
That's why he. I know somebody back in the. There are a couple. You don't know, you better look it up.
That's great. That's great. Well, and I would say for me, being imprinted by that moment in history certainly still feels powerful to me.
Mhm.
I've lived in California, in Southern California, since 1991. And so a lot of my own artistic development occurred right here. And my Briar Patch, my creative Briar Patch in LA is the world stage in Leimert Park. And so from 92 on out, I'm still a volunteer member, but I was just there last Wednesday doing a workshop. And I would say that what you really are shooting for as a creative person is to blend all your influences. You know, stay as aware as you are, and we talked a lot about this last week, of your tendencies, so that you don't repeat yourself. So even though you may have uncovered or unearthed your creative voice, your sort of overarching voice, you know, each poem demands what it demands. Each time you write a piece of fiction or you're exploring through the techniques of character, etc., you want to also make sure that you're not imposing yourself on the work. You want the work to breathe. Yeah. Sort of like a jazz voice, you know, sort of like that go-go beat, you know.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned the jazz voice too, because the other Saturday night I went to a thing for oh God, I forgot the exact title, but it's basically I think it was through USC. It was a Patrice Rushen.
Oh yes, that's
won
right.
an award. I think I
Oh, that's
posted.
right. Yeah, I've seen that.
And I just remember her. One of the things on there, she says, you know, she wanted to give back, and she said, because that's what we do.
Yes,
And that's something that we do, and you want to always have that voice out there, you know, and I'm sure that's what you say to the fellow poets. You pass it on, you keep that voice open and explore it. And I'm sure that's how a lot of the poetry comes. Because I'm still thinking, I'm still kind of in that point of, you were saying you used to say a lot, but it didn't have the essence of just saying that one word. And I go back to that. And was there anyone in particular, say back in DC before you came to California, that helped you realize that you needed to shape those words? Were there instances?
Well, yeah, I was super lucky. I mean, when I got out of Howard in '77, as a journalist and a reporter and editor, I was not a creative writer at the time.
Okay.
But when I moved after having my first child to Baltimore, well, we are on the East Coast, huh?
Mhm.
But my friends who I began to meet, my friend Melvin E. Brown, and he used to be the driver for the great late poet Lucille Clifton. Well, Lucille couldn't drive in those days, if she ever learned. And so these are the men and women I would meet. You know, Miss Clifton told me many years ago, she said, beware of the person who wants to be known as a poet. And seek out the people who actually want to be poets, who really want to have an engaged depth, or rather an engaged dimensional experience and relationship with language and with the poem. And she went on, of course, to win National Book Award, but also just was a powerful influence. And her work is radically different from mine. I'm not, you know, I don't try to write like Lucille Clifton, which would be a bad idea anyway. But I think the important thing is you pull the beautiful messages and lessons and wisdom from your teachers. But in the end, your true hustle is to find your own literary voice. In this case, your own voice as an artist.
Wonderful. With those words of wisdom, I think I want to play a little song here. And I know you're a Marvin Gaye fan.
No, for real.
So let's sit back and listen to this one. I'm G-Tap, and you're listening to 95.1 KVCM Monarch Radio. How's it going so far? Going okay? Cool. Awesome. We get some other DC homegrown in here. Marvin Gaye.
Yeah, man.
Another DC.
You can't overplay this song.
Never.
Is there any water or something in this jar?
All I have is mine.
I know it's a state.
I know, right?
A state
I don't have anything I
organization.
can pour it in before because somebody took mine. I left mine in the bathroom. I went back and it was gone.
Wow.
So Tara gave me some, and it's hot up in here too. I know.
Those studios had to be chilly.
This
That's
is
what I
a school.
thought.
This is a school. It's always 5 degrees.
Stay
up in here.
It's all bad, bro.
Steak money.
Stay funded right here.
Exactly.
Are you currently doing work?
I'm probably gonna ask you about Inspiration House next.
Whatever you go, I follow.
I really like. No. Wherever you want to go, I follow.
I don't have a predetermined.
Me either.
So you go.
Me either. That's why I was like, just give me stuff. I like it just to be a conversation.
Wherever
We
you
just-
go, I'll can
We
roll.
just go with it.
Yeah, you guys
I
have
don't like.
an
I don't
actual
like that. I don't like that. Barbara Walters.
Nah, question, answer, question,
It's
answer.
not my. It's not my groove.
Nah, I can tell you guys we're vibing.
Yeah. Okay. About 20 seconds we'll go on. Another DC native, so we have DC all in the house today.
Yeah, he escaped too. He went to Michigan.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And he was, you know, it was interesting because last time I used to go home every summer and I was walking through over Southwest, you know, the gentrification thing happening. And now they have these signs that I've never seen, like, is it, it may not be M Street, but it may be 6th Street. Anyway, they now have the signs that show where the tenement houses used to be, or there's a name for them, because it wasn't necessarily projects, but they were certain homes were built and they had the pictures where they had built these apartments in the 50s or 60s or something. And I knew about those apartments and stuff like that, but I didn't know the history of all the neighborhood. And it said that he had started out, I think, in Southwest.
Oh wow!
And then he was moved over to when they started the project. And they even have pictures of when they had the people talking to the black folks. Oh, this would be better if you moved. Basically, this would be better if you moved to the projects. It blows me away.
Yeah.
So it's a whole walk. It's right next to. I don't know if you've been back to DC, but there's a new museum now of the Bible.
Of the Bible.
Of the Bible.
What, the King James Christian Bible?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm sure that's the
no,
one.
I haven't seen
It's
that.
it's in Southwest. It's on.
Oh, okay.
And it's huge.
Oh wow!
And it was lines and lines
Oh,
getting
wow.
it. So I figured the next time I go home, I'm gonna check it out because it looked like it could.
Was
be
Trump in that line?
I'm gonna leave that one alone.
Oh, I'm asking.
Him, you know, if he got some holy water, we could throw it
Well,
away.
you can go from LA to DC.
I'm just saying. You know, I found some really interesting stuff on your websites because I love, first of all, the graphics.
Yes.
I love the graphics.
Oh, well, let me praise Julie Ray Graphics, Tucson/Phoenix, Arizona.
There you go.
Wonderful colleague. We're working on some things now. I just love her to death. She's been such a supportive, creative companion. So we worked here in a nonprofit here in LA called the Heart Project. It's now called Artworks LA. I used to be the program director, and Julie was the development colleague. And she and her husband moved off to Arizona, and she started her own business. And she has truly helped me represent these ideas. Inspiration
Definitely.
House, Happiness Project,
Yeah.
all kinds of stuff. You know, my blog, inspirationcrib.com. We call the blog Wreaking Happiness.
Love that.
So we just
Love that.
see the resonance.
Yeah.
Normally you say wreaking, you say what?
Havoc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go.
And that's what I mean. The graphics. As soon as I opened the webpage, it's like, oh, this is because I'm more of a visual guy anyway. And it took me there before I even went to the words. Even choose the choice of font.
Absolutely. Ain't no even.
You know.
Absolutely.
He
Ain't
said,
no doubt
you know,
about it. You
it's
know,
like it's
all
all
that's
in there.
thought through, bro. Ain't no
Yeah, the pictures.
I'm an
and just
improv
everything.
dude, but no, we worked hard to really establish that powerful
Well, you
presence.
did.
I'm
You
glad.
did very
I'll tell
well.
her that when I talk.
Yeah, and one of the things that caught my eye was about Inspiration House.
Yes.
You know, and I'll read a little bit about that. Inspiration House, directed by Peter J. Harris, produces cultural, artistic, educational, and media products and programs featuring virtuoso performers, and also conducts workshops, residencies, and retreats which inspire audience members to re-enter their lives renewed and confident that creativity and imagination are indispensable tools for constructive, personal, and social
Who
change.
wrote that? Who wrote that?
I don't know, but I copied it.
Good gracious. It's a rite of passage. It's really just the idea is whatever we do, you come to it in one state of mind, one state of being. You experience the thing, the event, the retreat, the poetry, the music. You absorb it. You engage with it. As you can tell, I love call and response. So, you know, and then when that is all over and it resolves in a beautiful and powerful way, which is what virtuosos know how to do, then you leave in a whole different mindset. You leave within a new personal and hopefully social dimension where you're thinking differently. You're thinking bigger, maybe. You're thinking with more courage, with more imagination. You're thinking that, yes, I can play a role in communing with the best of traditions. You know, even though we're in difficult times, I can play a part in, you know, positive outcomes, democratic outcomes, just outcomes. That's what the Inspiration House model is. It's a rite of passage model.
Are there any specific details to the work that gets you to each one of the stages?
Well, it depends on what I'm asked to do.
Okay.
So if it's a retreat, what I'm interested in is less facilitating and more immersion. And so you may come into the retreat, and we'll do a ceremony so we turn off your phone, so that you can't stay tethered to the previous life. And then meanwhile, here's a great musician, a singer, a steel pan player, a guitarist, a bassist, a sax player, a kora player. And they catch you with their improvisational brilliance. And next thing you know, you've slipped out of the old into the now. And as you experience, whether we're talking about masculinity, as we've done in some of our men's groups, or whether I'm, you know, working with shoulder to shoulder with about 4 or 5 poets, you know, we're sharing our work like a wave, and the musicians are playing in response. But when it all ends, you, as the person who was the quote-unquote member of the audience, you have felt your way into this dimension with us. And then, ideally, when we leave, we're all better people. We're all more charged up. And how you go about your service, or how you go about your social justice work, or how you go about just being a better man or a better woman, it's really up to you. Individuality is actually quite a strength in my conceptions of how you approach stuff.
That's fantastic. Do you find that people may have a little bit of resistance in the very beginning to
like everything? Yeah, you come to any new event, you might not want to sit on the front row, or if there ain't no seats, you might not want to be in the circle up close. But you know, in the end, that's why I personally prefer to work with people who understand the power of silence. So when I do readings, as a rule, whether it's me as an individual writer or if I'm with groups, we don't set up the work. So you come in, you may see instrumentation, or you may see a podium. But when I come out to read, I will listen. Maybe somebody introduces me or what have you, but the first thing you hear out of my mouth is actually the poem, not a setup. I wrote this poem when I was sad, or the name of this poem is, or you know, all of that stuff are conventions. Sometimes, if you're a really good storyteller, they are a great convention, because you get to bring people along with your process. All that stuff I'm actually interested in. Having done this for a very long time now, though, most people aren't great storytellers, and so as a result, they spend a lot of time setting up their poems, and sometimes the poems don't even measure up to the setup. And I personally don't know if my poems measure up to the setup, but if I don't give you no setup, I ain't worried about it. It's just me and you in the poem.
Not set up to fail. Exactly. I got you. And you have quite a few poems. I know you're going to read something for us later.
I'll grab something. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I met you at a book salon in Pasadena. What was that, February? I guess the end, because Black History.
Just as March.
Just as March open. And I have to say I've only been to a few book salons, mostly with my dear friend, Charles Reese. And he's usually speaking about James Baldwin.
Absolutely.
And he actually did a show there, and it was fantastic. I think he's listening today. So hey, Charles Reese.
Hey, Charles.
But we walked in, and it was just this wonderful, comfortable setting of just pillows on the floor. Everybody had this great energy. The hostess, and I'm so sorry.
That's Pat Gay.
Hey Pat,
Yeah.
sorry I forgot your name. The
That's
hostess
all
with the
good.
mostest. And it was just like this warm welcome
Yes,
the moment
absolutely.
you came in. And it wasn't like, okay, everybody go sit down in chairs, Peter's gonna read. It was like, nah, we're like, come on, get comfortable. Come on,
Absolutely.
let's just sit. So the atmosphere was right there already, and you read the passage, and then you opened up the conversation. And I honestly am saying I don't ever remember ever feeling that comfortable
Nice.
going into that depth of what we were talking
Nice.
about. And I'll let you talk about what we were talking about later, because it goes into,
Yes.
of course, the black man of happiness and how we just all let it out. And it was even, it was really cool, was that all of us brothers were cool really speaking our mind in front of the girls, in front of the women.
Absolutely.
Sometimes, men
That's
don't
right.
always
That's
want to be real, because we may be thought of as weak or different or whatever because there are females present
Yes,
there.
yes.
But we all just went there.
Yeah, I like to say, put down your gun and pick up your baby. Use your hands for something really life affirming. Well, of course, my work around the Happiness Project, I just simply ask the question, what is a happy black man? I started in the 90s in terms of writing about that theme in a more conscious way. I just had a second divorce, and I was really trying to figure out how do you get it right, first off, but more deeply I kept just sort of meditating. I was a mid-level elder at that time, somewhere around my 40s, and I was like, woo, what is going on here? When am I going, and I just started asking myself, what will make me happy? What are the ingredients for becoming a happy black man? And there are some pretty big conversations going on in our society, rightfully so and righteously so. The whole Black Lives Matter angle, the importance of really talking big about who controls the police, and how is it that their training is such that nobody's helping them see black bodies or brown bodies, male or female for that matter, child or adult for that matter, and how is it you can see these people instantly as threats as opposed to fellow citizens or neighbors? And even if there's a crisis environment, what is wrong with the configuration where you jump out your car blazing like Derek Cooper or somebody, which is, frankly I would make the case if you trace the DNA of that behavior, you're really talking about an American manhood that's grounded in that kind of a history. High Noon, John Wayne, all of that, the ultimate machismo. So, and I think that it's really critical to grow as a dude through your seasons. So yesterday, for example, Magic Johnson quits this major, gig. Well, he don't even tell the woman he says is his sister. How can you say that's your sister and she's your boss, and you make a decision as profound as that? God, you leave McDonald's with 2 weeks notice. How you going? But I think it was a masculinity move. It's a masculinity move. It's like, well, I'm tired. I want to go back to my old life. Well, bro, you're not 12, you're not 15, you're not 20, this ain't the 80s when we all was grooving on the Showtime.
Right.
And I'm making a point here. That's a live moment in our area here in our society. But I'm interested in breaking patterns of what I call arrested development. So when you're young, you're young. When you move to the next phase, you need a rite of passage of some sorts to become a better man or better young man. You get through that, maybe you have children, maybe you get married, maybe you get divorced, whatever the case may be. You have work to do. You cannot act the same way in every season of your life, or else you will be stuck, or as I say, you'll be in arrested development. So if I'm 60 years old now, I can't act like I was when I was in my 20s.
Exactly.
And be a real man. You see what I mean? So yeah, put down your gun, pick up your baby.
Love that.
You know, how much of a juxtaposition do you need?
Put down your
What you gonna do with if you got a baby in your hands? In what way does a gun play a role, or gun as a metaphor, not an actual piece of machinery?
Mhm.
You know. Anyway, so we can talk forever about these things.
Wow. We got to do, unfortunately, we got a little bit of radio business. This is an FCC.
Handle it.
But I'm loving it. When we come back, let's get into the Black Man of Happiness.
Oh yeah, I just got into it.
Oh, we going okay. So we gonna continue.
There you go.
We're gonna continue that. And I'm G Tap, and you're listening to 95.1 KBCM Monarch Radio.
5
It's going to be a video vlog as well. That's ultimately what we're doing. Taking it from the studio. I may be doing some of this at my home.
Oh sure.
Doing the interviews there, doing them here,
Yeah.
having these fantastic young men, George and William, involved, and
Same line. I don't know what else to talk about. What are you looking at me for in that strange face?
95.1 KBC Monterey Campus Talk. Further messages and sports 24 hours every day at 7